here with Josie Puelz to preview the 2022 Concordia Track and Field season, which actually gets started before the first of the year with a home meet as well. But as we talked right before we started recording, how you've had family come to Concordia and now a younger brother too. I don't know if maybe just knowing something already about Concordia, sometimes I think people want to go somewhere completely different from what their parents maybe did, but why was Concordia the right place for you?
It was definitely a difficult decision trying to figure out where I wanted to go because, my dad had gone here, so I didn't want to feel like obligated to come here. I kind of wanted to make my own decision. But that being said, the biggest things that drew me to Concordia was just the Christian mindset and having faith at just the core of everything that we do was huge for me. I think there's so much I can learn, and I continue to grow in my faith here. And the community, in both the academic side of things and athletics, I think is so unique. Just with the small class sizes and in track specifically, the coaching staff truly cares about each and every individual. You aren't just a number, you aren't defined by your results, and they genuinely want to see you grow as a person and as an athlete. And it's nice and refreshing to have a coaching staff who sees that holistically rather than just you as an athlete, which I think is really special. So those are the big things that drew me here.
What's your first memory of Concordia? I mean, is there something from your childhood where you remember maybe first hearing about the school or what?
I do remember when my Uncle Todd Voss was coaching here, actually. I would come and watch some basketball games, and so I just remember coming back into his office, and he would have pretzels in his bottom drawer. And so after every game, I was like, can we please go get pretzels? So that's the first time that I remember just acknowledging it as a school. And I don't even remember how old I was, not very, but that's probably the earliest memory I have of Concordia.
Is there a story that your father, John, tells the most about his time at Concordia?
Yeah, I don't think he shares a whole lot with me about his time at Concordia, but he played a lot of video games with his buddies, and he felt so blessed. He just talks about that with the relationships that he was able to build here, and the experience that he had since he transferred in after his first year at UNL. Then he decided to come here to play ball, and how that was it was a big life-changing choice, I think, for him to come here and be surrounded by believers. And honestly, that's what he talks about the most. So.
What was maybe the discussion like within your family when your dad got that letter he would be inducted into the Concordia Hall of Fame?
It's definitely, it's so special. I think we were all just so proud of him. And I hear stories about my dad being this great athlete in college, but not being there to witness that. But it's just really neat to reflect on the past and celebrate, what people have accomplished. And that being my dad was it makes your heart warm, and you become proud of your parents for the things that they get recognized for. So it was just a really special moment, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think you've talked a little bit about it, how you got into pole vault before, but I'm sure basketball was something you did as a youngster too, but how did pole vault enter the picture for you?
So my mom was really big when we were growing up about going to sports camps that LPS put on in Lincoln, and so she made us try every sport, a fall, winter, spring sport. Track and field was always my favorite to go to. And so my 7th and 8th grade years, we would go to the camps at South Lincoln Southwest, and they would have options to try all the different events. And the second year that we went, the LPS pole vault coach, Chris Johnson, came, and obviously Southwest doesn't have facilities for pole vault, but we would just do drills with just these stubby poles or an A-frame. So it was just the slightest dip in the toe in the water of what pole vault was. But I loved it, and I'd heard that, ex-gymnasts this is something that they'd accelerated at, and so that sparked my interest as well. And then LPS also has a pole vault camp, like that's all pole vault. So Chris Johnson was like, you should really come to that. I think you'd really enjoy it. So I went to that. I think my 8th and 9th grade years, I'm going into my 8th and going into my 9th. And I fell in love with it, getting to spend like a whole week just digging into the technique and trying stuff out was awesome. I didn't have facilities or a coach through Lincoln Lutheran, so I had to take private lessons with volunteer assistants at UNL. So once a week I would get to go practice and rent poles out, and that was how I started the winter of my freshman year actually looking to compete in pole vault. So that's kind of a condensed version of a lot of decision making, a lot of question asking, and to see, you know, how that was all going to happen, because it was just something I love so much, and it's just a matter of figuring things out. So
well, why has the sport been so rewarding for you? And some days there's some tough days too where things don't go the way you want them to, but what have you found rewarding about pole vaulting?
I think there's so much about it. There are so many components. It's your mind and how you approach things is just as important as the physical technicalities of it, and I love that aspect. It's not a simple thing. I think the adrenaline that comes along with it is thrilling. Getting to jump super high in the air and fall, and just there's all kinds of things that can happen. I love that. Another piece of it is, and this kind of goes for all track events, but it's very measurable. Your progress is very measurable. You can see it. You can feel it when you do something right, and it just absolutely changes the jump. But just having those standards that I can continue to push for myself, to continue to improve, I just have very high expectations. So I love that I can see my progress, and there's always something that I can fix. Always. Nothing is ever perfect. So.
Well, you've had some time for it to sink in after winning national title in indoor and outdoor. How do you describe what it's meant to you now that maybe you've been able to reflect on it a little bit?
They're just like surreal moments, and just like it's really hard to describe. Just getting to, you think about, I would really love to win a national championship, and that'd be something that I really want to accomplish. But having accomplished that now, it's like, you get to see your hard work and see all the things that go on behind the scenes come to like that peak of, getting to celebrate with your teammates and getting to contribute to the team and being a piece of that has been really special as well. It definitely is overwhelming in the moment, and it does take some reflection once it happens, but I just love how, especially in national championships, at nationals, the team comes together and you have so many different groups of people who are cheering for you, who want you to succeed, and the encouragement that I receive from my teammates and coaches is just incredible, and one of my favorite pieces of that, I think.
Well, I'm sure family and Coach Barry have all been influences on some of that success. I don't know if there are other people to mention, or if there'd be too many to name about that maybe have helped you though progress along the way.
Yes, like in college specifically.
Or even as you were getting into the sport too, and first learning it.
Yes, I'd say there's a lot of influential people. Clayton Pritchard was my first ever pole vault coach, and I just learned so much from him about the technique and the biomechanics of pole vault, which really built my foundation for my understanding of it today. And obviously Coach Barry, he understands me very well as a person, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to work with him and have somebody who understands you and who's walking right there alongside you to push you to be better. Like Coach Samuels and Coach Hinkfoot have also been huge with sprint training these past few years that I've gotten to do more of, and I think that has been between last year and this year, a game changer for my vault and working on that speed and power. So there's just so many people that contribute to, shaping me into the person I am today.
Well, all the women's, I guess the whole women's program the last several years has been really successful. I think we've talked about the kind of the special nature of the people that make up the program, but what have you enjoyed most about your time you've had here so far?
I am just constantly amazed by the dedication of my teammates and the positivity. Those are two things that specifically in college track, having those like-minded individuals has just like, I'm always so grateful for it. Having people who just like show grit and power through the difficult things. You know, you have workouts that absolutely suck, but having people there who are enduring that with you and are like, you know, this is going to make us better. Like, let's dig deep and just work hard, because, you know, it may not feel like it now, but little pieces at a time, that's what makes a difference over, you know, fall training, going into season. So people like Sarah Lewis, Rachel Battershell, Hannah Mulligan is my running buddy. Like, there's just so many people that make you want to be a better person, a better athlete. And I think that is something so unique about our women's team, is just how positive, encouraging, and inspiring each of them are, which helps us grow as a team, helps us be better teammates. And then we get to see that pay off in things like championships, GPAC, nationals, all that good stuff.
How about this pole vault group that you've got right now? What do you see as the potential for this group this coming year?
Oh my gosh. So watching the growth in them this year has just been incredible. I mean, obviously we have like Erin Amira and Sydney Reichert returning. Erin has so much potential, and I'm so excited for her and for things to line up for her. I think she just has so much left to give still, and I'm so excited to see how that comes through this season. Sydney Reichert, oh man, I get so excited watching her jump. She just has been working hard and is bringing speed and just making huge changes, so I'm excited to see how that will pay off. Amira also, so, I mean, she is so powerful and so fast that she's going to do great this season. Like, I just know that there's going to be some insane improvements that I'm really looking forward to, and our freshman girls are just awesome. And I've enjoyed getting to know them. I'm excited to continue to get to know them in the future, but I just already tangibly see so much improvement in our girls. Our guys, with the switch up of training this year, they have a lot to give to. Tice Haruza's finally competing with us this year, which I'm so excited about. Great dude, great vaulter, so I'm excited for him. Chase Berry is looking good, and good things are happening for him. Like, I just think we have a different mindset this year where everybody's on the same page of, like, we have that competitive drive and we know that we have so much potential as a group. So I cannot wait for the season to start to actually see those things happen. So.
Well, after you win a national championship, I mean, what's the motivation? Is it, I want to win another one, or but where do you find your motivation at right now?
I have very high expectations of myself, so I constantly want to know how I can push my own limits. So for me, it's not necessarily even just winning a national championship. That's something on my radar and that I want to do again. But just continuing to push my individual progress and buckle down, and I'm can occasionally be very hard on myself, being like, there's so many things that I need to improve, that need to get better. But I would say I'm never settling for something that I reach. I always want there to be a push for more. So I don't know necessarily where I find that motivation, but it's just a mindset that I've always tried to keep about me in athletics, is that there's nothing's ever perfect. There's always room to grow. So that's kind of what I keep in mind. Yeah.
One more thing related to your family, as mentioned, your younger brother Josh is here too. What is the level of pride that your family just has in being at Concordia, being Bulldogs?
I am so excited. I probably am more excited about him being here than he is, that's not to say anything bad about him, but it's just a joy to have. I mean, I'm so proud of him. I think he's such a hard worker, so talented. So I'm excited to see where his journey takes him at Concordia. And my whole family, I think, we could be anywhere and they're so supportive. They will drive to any and all events. My grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, parents, obviously. So I think they know how much I've enjoyed being at Concordia and what the school has done for me. So I think they're also excited to see how it does the same for Josh and where that takes him. So